Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is rejecting from this important area of resistance alongside the price of Solana and XRP, also rejecting from key resistance in the short term, and potentially one of the reasons as to why we're currently seeing a bit of a drop in the crypto market is due to the fact that one of the largest exchanges in the world did actually just get hacked. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, so definitely watch this video from start to finish so that you don't miss out on any of this important information. First of all, just before we take a look at the Bitcoin charts today, we need to talk about the Bitcoin and crypto news today, because just a matter of hours ago, Bybit did just confirm that they actually got hacked. They did get hacked, and in case you're wondering, the size of this hack is approximately $1.4 billion worth of Ethereum. It was pretty much just entirely Ethereum that did get stolen from Bybit. And obviously, if you have money on Bybit, you're probably thinking, is your funds actually safe on Bybit? And personally, just to be fully transparent here, I actually have funds over on Bybit. As you can see, 6 figures sitting on my Bybit account. And personally, I'm not actually withdrawing these funds because I am confident in Bybit here. Of course, it's completely up to you with what you do with your own money. If you want to withdraw, obviously do that. That's perfectly fine. But I'll actually refresh this page right here on this recording, as you can see right here. And there's no recent deposits or withdrawals. I haven't made any withdrawals from my Bybit account, but yes, withdrawals are currently open. If you have funds on Bybit and you want to withdraw, you can if you want to. Withdrawals are currently open, and basically Ben, the CEO of Bybit, explained in this live stream here over on Twitter that essentially it was entirely Ethereum pretty much that got stolen from Bybit. And so what that means is if you're trying to withdraw from Bybit, if you're withdrawing in, say, Bitcoin, trying to withdraw Bitcoin or USDT, that should be working as normal. But if you're withdrawing specifically Ethereum, it might be delayed. So just keep that in mind. And it's also worth noting the market impact, at least as of recording this video, the current impact to the crypto market with this news is really not all that significant, considering obviously the size of the hack and the size of the exchange. And so just to compare the market impact as of right now, this is the current day Bitcoin price on the daily time frame, and this is the Bitcoin price during the FTX collapse, just for a comparison. And essentially this is an example of when the market thinks the exchange is actually going to collapse, and this is an example of when the market thinks the exchange is obviously not going to collapse based on what the market impact is looking like. Because with the size of Bybit as a crypto exchange, it's one of the biggest exchanges out there. If it were to actually go down, we would see an impact to the market like this, for example, not like this. So just keep that in mind. But once again, if you want to withdraw your funds from Bybit just to be extra safe, you can obviously do that. Once again, withdrawals are still currently being processed over on Bybit, but just be aware that specifically Ethereum withdrawals may be delayed. So keep that in mind. But of course, if you're withdrawing stable coins or Bitcoin, for example, or Solana, let's just say, it should be working all fine. And personally, of course, I diversify across multiple different exchanges, so it's not like I have everything just all in one exchange. For example, I am over on 2bit and also over on Bitfinex, so I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit and Bitfinex below this video if you want to check out these exchanges, just to diversify across a bunch of different exchanges here in case anything like this actually happens again. And so obviously, at least in the short term, this is obviously affecting the price of Bitcoin just in the short term here and other crypto assets. But zooming out, looking at the bigger picture on this weekly Bitcoin chart, technically speaking, the price of Bitcoin is still within a larger bullish trend, forming higher lows and higher highs, also known as a bull market. And if we're taking a look at this 4-day Bitcoin chart, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish trend. But of course, this weekly Bitcoin chart has already been confirming a bearish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD for the last couple of weeks now. And the last couple of times we've seen this signal confirm on this Bitcoin price chart in this indicator, we have seen either a bit of a pullback or basically more of a bearish trend over the next few weeks or months. But at least for now, we're not really seeing a significant amount of bearish momentum. So we're unlikely going to see a significant bearish movement. And instead, a very likely scenario over the next few weeks is what I've been saying already for the last 1 to 2 weeks here. We're most likely going to see a bit of choppy sideways price action, or possibly a slight little pullback here as a likely scenario. So basically not a significant amount of bullish momentum or a significant amount of bearish momentum just over the next couple of weeks. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, this massive bearish divergence is technically still in play on the weekly time frame, with higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs confirmed in the weekly Bitcoin RSI, which basically tells us the bull market is obviously slowing down. We're losing a lot of bullish momentum, at least in the shorter term, but technically speaking, this does not guarantee the bull market's completely over, because for example, we did see a small bearish divergence on the weekly time frame right here, leading up towards around mid 2023, and what came next was obviously a pullback in the price of Bitcoin over the next 1 or 2 months, but not necessarily a new bear market or anything like that. So keep that in mind. As of right now, technically we've not yet invalidated the larger bull market. We're still technically within a bull market. It's just over the next few weeks, it's likely we're going to see a little bit more of a slowdown or a slight setback from the bull market. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at that 8-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously, as I'm recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is having a strong rejection from pretty much this exact area of resistance that I've been talking about, which is sitting in between around 98,500 to 99,000. So obviously, due to the news today, this is obviously affecting the price of Bitcoin, at least in the short term, causing this pullback at the same time as rejecting from resistance. And so, like I've already been saying over the last few days, despite the fact that we're seeing a bit of a bounce from this previous support, we're not really seeing a significant amount of bullish momentum or really follow through to basically continue the bullish movement here. So keep in mind the fact that at least for now, we're still playing out a lot of choppy sideways price action in the shorter term between support levels and resistance levels, which is occurring during a much larger sideways price range. And as for other support and resistance levels, if we were to actually confirm a breakout with candle closes back above around 99,000, in that case, we also have more resistance in between 101,000 to 103,000 and significant resistance in between 106,000 to 107,000. And as for support, we have important support in this area where we've previously seen multiple bounces from, sitting in between around 95,000 to 96,000. But if we actually confirm a break below 95k with candle closes below that level, in that case, the next important support to the downside is in between around 92,000 to 93,000, and also 91k is a critical level for Bitcoin to pay attention to. And if we're taking a look at this Bitcoin chart on the 4-hour time frame, obviously just yesterday we did initially confirm the breakout from this descending broadening wedge pattern above this descending line of resistance, which was sitting at just above 97,000. But after confirming the breakout, obviously we ran into this strong resistance. So like I've been saying here on the channel for a long time, even if we have a bullish price target and a bullish breakout playing out, we cannot ignore resistance. So even without the news today, of course, we were struggling a lot around key resistance and actually rejecting from that area of resistance. But obviously the news today was not helping the price of Bitcoin with this breakout here. Of course, it is a strong reason as to why we are seeing a bit of a pullback today in the crypto market, simply because we're seeing a bit of bearish news as of right now. And so technically speaking, especially if we confirm this candle close back below around 97,000 approximately, that will fully invalidate this breakout to the upside, which basically invalidates this pattern and the technical price target for that previous breakout. But as always, pay attention to support and resistance to basically look at where the price will most likely turn around at. And if we're taking a look at this 4-hour Bitcoin chart, essentially this previous oversold signal is now fully played out to the upside. So I'll no longer necessarily expect this to continue to play out. Like I've already said over the last few days, of course, we were seeing a bit of a short-term bullish relief playing out an oversold signal, but this signal by itself does not necessarily guarantee the bottom forever and that we'll never go lower than that low. Because, for example, it's possible we could see a bit of a bullish relief for a few days, resetting the RSI out of oversold territories and then perhaps going lower than the previous low once the RSI has more room towards the downside again. So keep that in mind. At least for now, we have already reset that RSI to the upside, which technically now gives us a little bit more room to the downside. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map over the last one day, the price of Bitcoin pretty much perfectly wiped out all of that liquidity that was sitting at roughly around 99,000 and just underneath 99,000. So like I always say, the price of Bitcoin Bitcoin usually moves towards where there's a lot of liquidity to wipe out that liquidity. And essentially, as we're starting to wipe out that liquidity and causing a small little short squeeze here, wiping out a bunch of short positions at around 99k, it was right there where obviously that bearish news came out just over the last few hours or so, which was one of the causes as to why we saw a bit of a dump in the short term in the price of Bitcoin and crypto. And so that is the current situation for Bitcoin, and moving forward, once again, I expect relatively low momentum price action, so just chopping around, bouncing around between support levels and resistance levels, lacking momentum. That's still what I'm expecting and what I've already been saying for weeks now, and playing out perfectly as expected. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, of course, Ethereum is the asset that everyone's looking at right now due to that hack that we just saw, which was specifically in Ethereum. But the good news, at least so far as I'm recording this video, is that we're not really seeing a significant impact to the price of Ethereum. As we can see, of course, we are seeing a slight bearish movement and rejecting from this point of resistance, which was sitting at around 2.8k, still acting as strong resistance. And some important points to consider involving the price of Ethereum in regards to the recent Bybit hack is that obviously due to the size of this hack, it's very likely that there will be many teams all over the world tracking these funds. That's one good thing about Bitcoin and crypto. It's all fully transparent, so anyone and everyone can track exactly where this money goes at all times. And so considering the size of this money right here, of course, it's very likely that many people all over the world will be tracking exactly where this goes and actually blacklisting these funds from exchanges, which basically means if the hacker tries to move this onto another exchange to try and sell this Ethereum, it's very likely that that exchange will just basically freeze their account and hold these funds. Or for example, if they try to use a decentralized exchange to swap these funds into, say, USDT using, let's just say, Uniswap, a decentralized exchange, USDT or Tether essentially can freeze stablecoins anytime they want. And so keep that in mind. Due to the size of this hack in Ethereum over on Bybit, of course, it's going to be very difficult for that hacker to actually cash out those funds. And it's also worth considering that maybe at some point in the future, if Bybit's unable to actually recover any of these funds, they may actually have to buy some Ethereum on the market in order to actually process more Ethereum withdrawals to actually get their Ethereum balance back up. But if they end up doing that, it will likely be over a longer period of time, so they don't affect the price of Ethereum too much. And in the immediate short term, to basically process Ethereum withdrawals, they did actually tweet out over here that they will be actually getting a loan, a bridging loan in Ethereum to process Ethereum withdrawals. So keep in mind that at least for now, there's a minimal impact to the price of Ethereum, which is some good news here in the short term. And as for technical levels to watch out for, we still have a lot of support at roughly around 2,500 and just above 2.5k, and also more support at around 2.3k and significant support in between 2,150 to 2.2k. But obviously, we're still currently holding above 2,500 acting as support. And as for resistance, once again, we still have strong resistance at around 2.8k and also more resistance at around 3,000 to 3.1k if we were to actually confirm a breakout first above 2.8k. But for now, the price of ETH, at least in the shorter term, is somewhat neutral. Obviously, we're seeing a slight little pullback, rejection from resistance, but in terms of the momentum or the shorter term trend, we're basically just bouncing around within a bit of a sideways price range as of right now. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 8-hour time frame, obviously just like Ethereum and Bitcoin, Solana is also perfectly rejecting from this area of resistance that I've already been talking about. So obviously that news today pretty much timed it very well with coming into this area of resistance. And so obviously I have been saying here on the channel, despite seeing these short-term bounces from levels of support, we cannot really be confident in more of a bullish trend starting to form until we at least see some confirmed breakouts above key points of resistance, like for example, at least breaking out back above around $180 with confirmation. So candle closes above 180 and holding above that level in order to even think about starting to flip more bullish again in terms of the trend and momentum. And so technically speaking, the shorter term trend and momentum for Solana is still currently bearish. As we can see, we are forming lower highs and lower lows, breaking below support levels, rejecting from resistance levels, which is all bearish price structure. And the next point of support that I'll be watching in terms of significant support is sitting in between around 156 to 161. And we could also find a small amount of support at around 165 based on these candle closes at this low. But overall, Solana is simply more bearish than it is bullish, as I've already been saying for quite a while now on the channel. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, XRP is also perfectly rejecting from this area of resistance, which is still sitting in between around $2.65 to $2.80. So like I've been saying, of course, expect the price to struggle in that area and reject from that area, which is exactly what is happening right now. And as for support to watch out for, we could find a small amount of support at around $2.50 approximately, but below that, the next significant area of support to the downside is sitting in between around $2.25 to $2.30, and below that we also have more support at roughly $2. And as I always say, the price of XRP, along with a lot of the major altcoins out there, will follow similar price action to Bitcoin, for example. So if Bitcoin is having a short-term rejection or short-term dump or short-term pump, expect something similar for a lot of the major altcoins, XRP included. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink, we're also seeing obviously a bit of a short-term pullback in the price of Chainlink following the rest of the major cryptos out there. And as of recording this video, we're possibly starting to break below this 50% retracement level, acting as support on this daily Chainlink chart, which is sitting at around $17.60 to $17.70. But as of recording this video, we still need to technically confirm a daily candle close below that level in order to actually confirm the break to the downside. But if we actually do that, if we confirm a daily candle close below that level of support, in that case, the next important area of support is sitting in between $14.90 to $15.50. And also, if we break below support, that would likely become new resistance. And as of right now, if we actually bounce somehow very soon from this level of support, of course, we still have more resistance to the upside to pay attention to, mainly sitting in between $19.50 to $20, acting as strong resistance. And in terms of the short-term momentum, technically speaking, and over the last couple of weeks, we've been looking relatively neutral, basically bouncing around sideways between support and resistance. But if this support level breaks, if we confirm that break, like I just said, then potentially expect to move down towards this next support. So in other words, if we see some confirmation here, expect the short term to start flipping a little bit more bearish again. But during all of this, of course, the larger price structure this entire time has remained bearish. The larger structure, as we can see, or the larger trend or momentum, is forming lower highs and lower lows, breaking below support levels and rejecting from resistance, which is all bearish price structure. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, personally, I'm mainly trading over on 2Bit and Bitfinex at the moment, because especially there are no KYC exchanges, and also there's massive rewards that you can claim over on 2Bit and Bitfinex if you use the link below this video. And also on top of that, if you want to actually know how to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.